So this is a follow-up video on my last video. Something is always better than nothing. And the key word is always. It's all critical. Something always better than nothing. So we get stuck in these loops about expectation about what we have to do in order to, get what we want, and we give up, or we give up in the moment. So we have a rule. I wanted to talk about this because I realized that always is a very, very important word. So maybe this talk is more about the word always than something is always better than nothing. So in the last video, I talked about how something is always better than nothing, and how we get in these belief structure loops, these mindset loops in which we stop ourselves from doing anything. So for example, this morning, I was kind of running out of time. I got up late. I didn't eat as good as I should have last night, and had some delicious pizza and sausage, and all very eco. Well, pizza was from a local friend, but the sausage was Neiman Ranch, so it was awesome. Anyways, the point is that I wanted to say this too. I think it's very important to track your health metrics. So I use a Whoop, and I've used one for going on 3.5 years now. So I get to call myself a veteran, because back then there wasn't very many users. And I do believe that getting a good night's sleep is critical. And so I favor a variable wake-up time, just making sure that I get the proper rest that I need. And I keep working towards a better nighttime routine, and going to bed a little bit earlier, and just been kind of failing on that a little. I don't say failing, but not living up to my highest standard on that, which is fine. It's, you're just always, something's always better than nothing. You're always moving in that direction. So always, this is the thing I really wanted to talk about today. Do you use the word always? Do you believe in terms of always and never? Do you think in terms of always and never? We have a meme in our household in which I say to my daughter and my wife, and we say back to each other, always and never are almost never true. So when you switch into thinking and speaking in terms of always and never, what you've done is you've stopped looking at reality, and you've started tapping into your emotional narratives. So emotional narratives are driven by these absolutes, always and never type thinking and speaking. So when you're thinking always and never, you've tapped out of reality, you've tapped out of observation, you've tapped out of your frontal lobe, and you're bounced into an emotional narrative. So when I say something is always better than nothing, that seems like that goes contrary to that. But it's one of those rare cases where absolute thinking is beneficial. Something is always better than nothing. I mean, I guess you could say that there's cases where there's probably a lot of cases where doing nothing is actually the right thing to do. But when you're trying to develop actions consistent with the results that you're trying to produce in your life, say 99% of the time, something is always better than nothing. Actually, I mean, in my personal life, I can't think of any time where, getting up and meditating, or getting up and doing yoga, or getting up and writing, or, going to work early, or whatever, or, spending time with my family when I said I was going to, that is never, I think it's always. But I think it's really critical, and I find that people are so sloppy. Most people are so sloppy with their thinking and speaking. I've been working on it for a long time, and I'm still very much a student, but I have done a pretty good job of eliminating always and never from my vocabulary. Took a lot of years, but and it's amazing, because if you stop thinking in terms of always and never, you'll start getting to the subtler levels of when you drop out of being connected to reality and connect, and you're more in an emotional narrative all the time. That's another one. You always are all the time. There's lots of alls, lots of variations on those that will sneak in. So what's the gist of this talk? This talk is really me trying to underline this important idea that I'm working with, and I'm hoping that you will find value and work with too. Something is always better than nothing, like building on that concept of not giving yourself excuses to not do something. Basically, I don't have enough time, or I don't have enough resources, or I don't have enough body capacity. My morning practice is so interesting. Yesterday I missed it. And so this is, I think, really critical when we're dealing with ourselves, is the expectation and judgment. That's another thing that stops us. So, yesterday I didn't do my routine, but I got right back on it today. Yesterday, whatever. I'm not going to beat myself up about it. My family was up, and I chose to spend time with my family. On this idea of always and never, and when you use those words, you're disconnecting from reality and moving into an emotional narrative. I was just thinking about what my daughter used to say to me, or what she does say to me. I can't. And this may sound very simple, but as simple as saying, I can't do that right now. Like, that's not true. The 99% of the time when you say I can't, it's not true. You can say I don't want to, or it would be very difficult. So a lot of times when I'm dealing with my daughter, I'm trying to be the best dad I can, I try to help her speak in terms of what's really going on. She'll say, I can't do that, right? I can't draw that. And it's like, no, that's not true. It's not that you can't draw it. It's that you don't want to take the time to learn how to do it, or to do the repetitions that it would take for you to actually draw that, or to look it up in the book and resource it. You don't want to do that. And it's so much more powerful to get to a place where you say, I don't want to, versus I can't. Now, and it's also trained me, because I remember she'd be sitting next to me in the car, and she'd say, Daddy, look at this. And I'd go, honey, I can't. And then I would stop myself and go, actually, I could, but that would be dangerous. So I'm not going to do that right now. I choose not to do that. Not I can't, but I won't. And so I guess this talk is about speaking and thinking in empowered, action-oriented words, in ideas. I hear this is something that, oh my God, it drives me bananas when it happens. I'll be interacting with someone, I'll be coaching someone, and they'll say, oh, that's just semantics. And that is so, I don't know how to say it any other way. It's wrong. When someone's like, oh, that's just semantics, the way that we speak reveal the way that we hold our belief structure, the way that we hold our identity. People do mean different things by the same word. So, inquiring into, well, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by God? What do you mean by can't? That is an important inquiry, but a lot of times people they want to discount it. And the reason I think people want to discount it is they don't really want to take responsibility for their own belief structures. I wish I could give you a concrete example in my life. But I think that's a really, really good one. Just the idea, like when I was saying I can't look at your drawing right now because I'm driving, I won't look at your drawing because I'm driving. And it's not semantics. I guess that's what I'm saying. Another thing that I've been working on for a long time and is so the world needs more people who have the capacity to step out of their emotional reactive state. So this stuff that I'm talking about it's a mindful speech practice. So another mindful speech practice. So far we've started with always and never, moved to I can't, moved away from it's just semantics, and the next thing I want to talk about is, it's just, my brain is going really fast. It's tough for me to hold on to these ideas. It's just semantics. No, I lost it there. I'm gonna try to find it. I'll be back in a second. Okay, I couldn't find that other last segment in my mind. That'll just have to be another episode. So that's the bottom line. Always and never stay away from them. Remember, something is always better than nothing. It's not really true that you can't. It's usually that you won't or you don't want to. And learn, like, the more you refine this stuff, you're gonna find, and also, like, it's not semantics. Semantics reveal the deeper relationship that you have to reality. And the more you can connect with reality, the less wrong you will become, and the more you'll become a better person. And the more mindfulness, it's a language mindfulness. Oh, you know what I was gonna say? I remember it now. Swearing. When people swear all the time, I've been around someone that uses an F-bomb every other word. That's like lazy speech. That type of speaking reflects a mindlessness. So, a very well thought out, well placed F-bomb is great. But when they're all over the place and they're mindless, it doesn't help anything. It's just, notice it. It's a reflection of a mindless character. And that's fine. People, I'm not going to judge people for being mindless, but being mindful is powerful. Okay, I got to go. I'm at the lumberyard.